The KXAN News Podcast is sponsored by Shelf Genie. In-depth, investigative. This is KXAN News.
Unwanted neighbors in Georgetown are creating quite the buzz. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jennifer Sanders.
I'm Daniel Marin. A homeowner is worried about the large hornet's nest that is behind her house, but it's on someone else's land the city owns. And the city told her she is on her own.
So she's now trying to hire someone to remove it. And as KXAN's Mercedes Hernandez reports, it's turning out to be more difficult than you might expect.
So it's right up here.
In Monica Grace's backyard, there's a swarm of above, hidden in this tree just on the other side of her fence.
It was about the size of a basketball, and it still is.
Grace's family moved into their home in December, but it wasn't until all the leaves fell off trees in her backyard in the dead of winter that she finally saw this hornet's nest.
I'm scared to utilize the backyard just yet because, well, what if it falls? I mean, we're kind of in a bad spot.
The tree is on land owned by the city of Georgetown. We reached out to the city about this. They say any resident worried about a nest should hire a private removal service. Grace says she's tried.
They came out and they just said, no, nobody can do this because whoever does it will probably die.
A lot of companies that are saying that it's too much of a job or something they don't want to get into. That's really just the inexperience, which is good that they are saying that.
Tyler Lackey owns his own bee removal service. He says taking down a hornet's nest can be complicated.
You need to actually go in, clip the branch, and be able to haul it off to a new area that you can place it onto.
Lackey encourages locals to treat their homes early to keep a big hive like this from forming, and only hire professionals to remove them. For now, Grace says she'll keep up her home remedies until she finds a service willing to take her case.
But we're going to keep trying.
In Georgetown, Mercedes Hernandez, KXAN News.
And we looked into the story, all thanks to a tip sent to report it at KXAN.com. If you ever have a story you would like us to look into, just scan that QR code on your screen and send us a message. The address is reported at KXAN.com.
Well, we've got some breaking news right now in North Austin. Police say they are on the scene of a suspicious death along Metric Boulevard, just north of Breaker Lane. Now, we are headed that way, and we will let you know as soon as we learn more. The family of a man killed by Austin police officers after a shooting downtown filed a civil rights lawsuit today against APD and several of its officers. Police believe Anthony Franklin shot and injured someone downtown in January. Officers were looking for that gunman when they shot and killed Franklin near 6th and Colorado Streets. Now, body camera video shows Franklin throwing his gun toward a parked vehicle. The family claims Franklin was on the ground and crouched in the fetal position when officers opened fire.
We just want to know what part of the policy it is when somebody had their hands up to shoot them. That's all we want to know. I ain't never seen no protocol in that matter.
I just want to know why. Why?
And the lawsuit names officers Kelby Raffert, Ron Rollins, and Jacob Bowman. All three officers were put on administrative leave as part of APD protocol. Criminal and administrative investigations both remain ongoing. The U.S. military says a Russian fighter jet harassed and then clipped a U.S. drone like this one over the Black Sea today. Now, that forced the U.S. to bring down the drone in international waters. Russia's defense minister says fighter jets never came in contact with the drone, claiming instead that it crashed due to, quote, sharp maneuvering. Well, after a series of high-profile near collisions on airport runways, including one at the Austin airport, the acting chief of the FAA tells NBC's Lester Holt officials will assess whether changes need to be made.
Why is this summit so important right now?
The reason it's so important that in spite of or because of our incredible safety record, when we begin to see things pop up on our radar, when we begin to see things that we don't expect to see, we expect every flight to operate as it should. And so we've had these events over the past few weeks that gives us a moment to say, let's stop, let's reflect, let's ask ourselves the question, are we missing anything? Is there anything that we should be doing different? And remind ourselves always, always that we can never become complacent and never take this incredible safety record for granted.
And ahead on NBC Nightly News, what the acting chief says about your safety in the sky.
First warning weather with Chief Meteorologist David Yeomans.
Well, temperatures a few degrees cooler today as predicted as clouds have thickened up this afternoon. A weak disturbance moving overhead leading to a gray view from the Wildflower Center tonight. 64 degrees, a little more comfortable than yesterday. It is chilly up in the northern hill country, as cold as 50 up in San Saba, mainly 60s elsewhere from Marble Falls out to Giddings where it's 66. We've had this deck of clouds keep us cooler from the hill country eastward as it moves into the area. Only a few little sprinkles suggested by this radar, but a closer inspection shows this is really nothing to write home about. Northwest of Liberty Hill on 281 in Burnett and Lampasas counties, just a couple drops on the windshield, not even a measurable amount. Coming up, this is not the storm system that's going to be impactful. That one is a couple days away. Join us for the details on the threat of severe weather, wind chills that will then drop below freezing, and yes, the potential of wet snowflakes in our area over the weekend.
Well, right now, some welcome news for the more than 8 million Americans with diabetes relying on insulin. Novo Nordisk says it will cut the price of some of its insulin drugs in the U.S. by as much as 75%, but that won't happen until next year. Now, earlier this month, Eli Lilly reduced prices and put a $35 a month cap on insulin costs for those with private insurance. Now, Eli Lilly also has a program that offers insulin to the uninsured for $35 a month, and to get that, you need to go to the company's website, insulinaffordability.com, and then download a discount card.
There's new data that shows the high prices that we've all been paying are coming down slowly. Chris Pallone explains what this may mean for our overall economy.
Inflation in February was 6% higher than a year ago, down from a peak of more than 9% last June, but still much higher than the government's target of 2%. In a statement, President Biden said February's inflation was the slowest annual increase since September 2021, and the president said he would continue working to lower costs. But that job largely falls on the Federal Reserve, which appeared all but certain to raise interest rates once again next week. That is until two banks failed over the weekend under the pressure of the rapidly rising rates. A stunning collapse that some analysts say should have been anticipated.
The bank examiners should have seen this. This isn't about the framework for regulation. It's about the execution.
Now, sources say both the Justice Department and the Securities and Exchange Commission have opened investigations into what led to the failure of Silicon Valley Bank.
Is there something wrong with the supervision system? Is there something more broadly broken inside the broader banking system that needs to be looked at?
As the fallout spreads, Democrats and Republicans appear eager to pin the crisis on each other.
Unfortunately, the last administration rolled back some of these requirements.
Two big banks yesterday closed. That's a bad sign. That could be the beginning. We have an economy that's in shambles.
The blame game underway as Americans wonder whether their banks are safe and whether prices will ever come back down to normal. Chris Pallone, NBC News, Washington.
Big plans for an empty lot on busy South Lamar. You knew it was coming. Just ahead, what's going up at the intersection of Lamar and Bluebonnet Lane?
And President Joe Biden just issued an executive order to expand background checks for gun purchases. We'll explore what's in it.
And it's a historic night for Austin FC here at Q2, hosting their first ever CONCACAF Champions League match at home. And they need a lot of offense. We'll break down what they need coming up in sports.
A new condo development is coming to the long vacant corner lots of South Lamar and Bluebonnet Lane. Pearlstone Partners is building Montage, a 182-unit condo project with commercial space on the bottom floor. Now, this is the same group behind Parkside and Miller. This one is scheduled to open in the spring of 2025. 18 of its 182 condos have been designated as affordable. That's 10% required by city zoning. So what exactly does that mean? Well, 9 of those units will be available to buyers earning 80% or less of the median family income. For a single person, that is just under $62,000 a year. For a two-person household, that's just over $70,000. The other 9 units will be available to those earning 100% of median family income, which is just over $77,000 for a single person and just over $88,000 for a two-person household.
Austin FC taking to the field at Q2 Stadium in just a few hours, and they've got a lot to prove tonight. The team is taking on Haitian team Violette in Champions League play. Our very own Noah Gross is live at Q2 for us today. So Noah, you told me that Austin FC really has some ground to make up today.
Yeah, Jen, first a shout out to you nailing the Haitian team Violette. We were working on that pronunciation earlier. You did a great job. So, Austin FC facing Violette in the second leg of this Champions League round of 16 showdown. In the first matchup a week ago back in the Dominican Republic, Austin FC, the heavy favorite, but they actually lost 3-0. So now let's paint a picture for you this evening. So they basically combined this 2 scores of both of the games, and because it was a 3-0 victory for the Haitian squad last time, Austin needs to win tonight by 4 or more goals in regulation in order to advance, or if they win by 3, they'll go to extra time, then of course penalty kicks to advance in Champions League play. Coach Josh Wolf confident he's going to see a different bunch from his crew this evening.
I sense they'll be energized to go and perform tomorrow. And the group that's out there has that responsibility, as the group that was in the Dominican had the responsibility to go out and perform and execute. So we're going to give it, a big push. And obviously we want our fans there, the energy that they give us, the support that they've given us since this team has been brought into market is extremely important. And it's going to be important tomorrow night.
Obviously tomorrow night, meaning tonight, that press conference a day ago over Zoom. So expect a different Austin FC squad, not just in the energy they bring, but on the players on the actual pitch. They had a lot of reserves getting a lot of playing time a week ago in the Dominican Republic. Tonight, some stars that fans are very familiar with, like Sebastian Driussi, Danny Pereira, Giazzi Zardes, one of the new additions, could probably get some serious playing time as they have a lot of ground to make up. Should be a fun one here with Violette and Austin FC. Losers going to go home feeling a bit blue. For now, at Q2 Stadium, Noah Gross, KXAN News.
No, thanks. Great night for some soccer out there. Temperatures today did match yesterday in Austin, 69, the high temperature. But soon it's going to get warmer and then a whole lot colder. We're tracking a significant cold snap and a threat of severe weather after this.
This KXAN News podcast is brought to you by Shelf Genie. I'm Rosie Newberry from KXAN Studio 512. Considering replacing your kitchen cabinets? Struggling to find or reach things? Go to shelfgenie.com/Austin. Shelf Genie designs custom pull-out shelves for your existing cabinets, adding convenience and value to the most used room in your home. Shelf Genie custom pull-out shelves, everything in reach.
President Biden is rolling out new gun control measures meant to crack down on violence.
And Hannah Brandt takes a closer look at the executive order the president signed today.
Monterey Park, California is a community grieving the 11 people killed during a mass shooting in January.
We remember and mourn today, but I'm here with you today to act.
President Biden traveled there on Tuesday to announce a new executive order on gun control. The effort is wide-ranging and includes measures to increase background checks on gun buyers and promote the use of red flag laws. Plus, he's taking steps to speed up implementation of the gun safety package passed last year.
That will build on the already historic progress we've made during his presidency to try and address this epidemic of gun violence and make our communities safer.
But even the president says these actions don't go far enough, and says Congress should do more to crack down on gun violence.
Enough. Do something.
A Republican-controlled House is unlikely to pass the president's gun control wish list. But Democrats aren't giving up on calls for things like universal background checks and an assault weapons ban.
Democrats stand ready to keep working together to combat violence, and we hope a good number of our Republican colleagues will join us once again.
Absent action from Congress, however, the president is doing everything within his power.
And for future mass shootings, the Biden administration says they're looking for ways to give more federal resources to impacted communities. In Washington, I'm Hannah Brandt.
First warning weather with Chief Meteorologist David Yeomans.
Well, it's a cloudy and cool day out there, 65 degrees with not much rain to show you on the radar from those overcast skies. Pollen count actually trending in the right direction as the winds have died down. Oak, mold, grass, ash, and everything on page 2 trending lower in the past 24 hours. This little weak disturbance not really delivering us much rain, just some clouds that will soon break up overnight. But a bigger storm is on the way from the Pacific Northwest, and this is the one that's bringing an increasing threat of severe storms. Not tomorrow, but late on Thursday. Almost all of us now included in this expanded slight risk, a 2 out of 5 on the scale of some scattered severe storms. This is a very large yellow area, which means as this map is updated again overnight and tomorrow, we may see some higher threat areas pop up, and those may even include parts of central Texas. We'll keep you advised. We just got some new high-resolution data about how this goes down. We'll skip over a dry day tomorrow, start you off with some light rain showers at times early and midday on Thursday. No real action in terms of bad bad weather, but this is a West Texas dry line, kind of a front of humidity instead of a front of temperatures. And as drier air, rather, pulls into the metro area on Thursday afternoon, it may spark an isolated severe storm. Typically, this fails to spark severe weather in our area, but we'll be watching it very closely. Overall, I think Thursday afternoon just gets hotter behind this thing as the sun comes out. Now, that's not the main event. After we wipe that off the map, we turn our attention toward a very strong cold front that will bring the main risk of severe weather Thursday night. Here we are at 8 p.m. A few strong storms firing quickly in the northern hill country. By 10 p.m., the line is filling in with hail, wind damage, or tornado possible as the front moves into the Austin area. 11 p.m. These storms are strong, bringing heavy rain and a severe weather threat to Austin and areas eastward. By midnight, here they are chugging through our southeastern communities, and then they're pretty much gone. By Friday morning, we are dry, but we are much, much colder and windy. Get to that in a minute. Rainfall, hopefully we see a little more than what's shown here. I think if we get that line filling in, as you saw there, more of us could get a half to 1 inch of rain. We'll knock on wood. After that, you know, the cold weather coming from this is much more significant, I think, than the severe weather threat, and that's nothing to sneeze at. Wind chills by Friday morning at or below freezing in mid-March here as those winds howl. Temperatures will be dropping into the 40s on Friday morning, only the 50s for daytime highs. And South by Music Festival this weekend looks very chilly. Average highs are in the 70s. We're talking about 50s again on Saturday, again on Sunday, and temperatures may actually flirt with a freeze in the hill country by Monday morning. Not expecting a freeze in Austin at this time. Remember, the hill country typically sees freezes until Monday morning. March 20th is the average last freeze out there. Now, we do expect mainly dry weather behind this thing on Friday and on Saturday, but the forecast gets interesting after that. As I hinted at yesterday, cold rain increases on Sunday, but that rain may mix with some wet snowflakes in the hill country on Monday. Not expecting any accumulation right now, but something to watch for with the kids. Okay, tonight, scattered clouds, 52 degrees with light winds. Tomorrow, the south winds get very gusty late in the day. That brings temperatures up to 77. We could be in the 80s before that threat of severe storms on Thursday. Then the temperatures crash. We're watching closely for that potential wintry mix Sunday night into Monday. We'll be right back.
A man in Florida has been released from prison after serving 34 years for a crime he didn't commit. Kim Wine brings us his story.
For 34 long years, Sydney Holmes has dreamed of this moment. Walking out of Broward County Jail and into his new life.
I know this day was going to come sooner or later, and today is the day.
One by one, family members embraced him.
Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah.
His mother, Mary Holmes, crying tears of joy.
I'm just so grateful to God, and I'm so grateful to everybody that made this possible.
I'm excited to see my big cuz come home, and just happy for him to be here, and can't wait for this second half of life to start.
Holmes was arrested in 1988 and convicted the following year of being the getaway driver for two men who robbed a man and woman at gunpoint outside a store and stole their car near Fort Lauderdale. Holmes, now at age 57, was sentenced to 400 years in state prison. Officials say Holmes contacted the state attorney's conviction review unit in 2020. After investigating, they found that there was no evidence linking Holmes to the robbery and that eyewitnesses likely confused him with someone else.
We had an opportunity to exonerate a man who's been in prison wrongfully. We had an opportunity to do the right thing today, to right a wrong.
Holmes broke down in tears while in court Monday, embracing Broward County State Attorney Harold Pryor.
No longer is the wrong man confined to a Florida state prison.
Holmes says he wasn't ready to comment directly on serving so much time for something he didn't do. For now, he says he's just grateful to everyone who helped him get out.
Anything you'd like to say to community members who've been rallying behind you, waiting for this day?
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
And that was Kim Wine reporting. Investigators found that Holmes was likely a victim of mistaken identity and that there was no evidence linking him to that crime. Looking in depth right now, there are 4 Texas counties with conviction integrity units. Travis County is one of them. Their websites all contain case intake forms to request a case review. And there's also the Innocence Project of Texas, which has freed 28 people. It says with wrongful conviction rates estimated between 2 and 6%, there are between 3,000 and 9,000 innocent people in Texas prisons.
Thanks for listening to KXAN News Nightly. You can also listen to KXAN News Today every morning for more in-depth coverage of what matters most to you.